Hey guys, it's Disham Kumar here. Today uh, at Do New Talks, we have Salma Musa with us. She is a dawn in startup world who has actually helped quite a lot of uh, in ideation stage startup and seed stage startups. Today, she is here to speak about her journey and challenges that she faced in the startup ecosystem. Welcoming her.
Because I myself, as a founder, right, under my
Mhm,
previous label, the community driven engagement,
mhm,
everything was offline. We would
mhm,
conduct 120 meetups. I would travel across cities.
mhm.
Even mentoring would happen face to face in coffee shops.
Okay.
But COVID happened.
Mhm,
And post COVID, within a week, we pivoted in this new initiative
mhm,
where we are now a global platform, all
mhm,
mentoring, all engagements online, networking sessions online. And Kapil, you would be surprised to know that we're
mhm,
actually getting execution support to our entrepreneurs
mhm.
through online.
Oh, but
We have growth trackers, we
uh,
have target setting, we
mhm,
have opening those connections and
mhm,
results. Like during the COVID time, we were
mhm.
able to bring 9 to 10 startups seed money of a total amount of 1.5 crores, money
Oh,
in the bank,
that is a.
not just connection. So it is an opportunity.
But like you said that it is an opportunity where you are actually helping the people through online. But the thing is, don't you see any challenges because when you have a face-to-face meetup, when the offices are actually working, and now you have network issues when you go for online connect or something like that. So how difficult is for a new startup who just started and wants to grow? Like if the team members are together with you, it's fine. But if the team members are in different cities, how difficult or how easy it is for the person to grow now?
So I'm going to tell you two. In fact, let's make it three. The three good things that happens with this virtual presence, and the three tough things that we'll have to capture on. But before I do that, for entrepreneurs as well, I've seen a huge opportunity through this COVID,
Hmm.
majorly through healthcare. Another thing has been the home office furnitures, and
Hmm.
then a lot of young entrepreneurs who started the food delivery businesses, and I have seen them achieve some great results. And now with slowly pandemic coming to a point where we are adjusting with it, we are getting familiar with it, and we are being safe and out there. I can see again new startups coming up with virtual booking your tables and meeting rooms, bookings, and making every offline business into a social distancing enabled
Hmm.
business. So I see a huge opportunity, and I also see
Hmm.
many entrepreneurs making the best of it.
Correct,
I
correct.
have seen some amazing entrepreneurs, I've worked with them, where they have pivoted like so quickly, and
Hmm.
went ahead with it. Now let's start. Me being an optimistic person, I'm going to go with the first top three best things which worked out for entrepreneurs, early stage entrepreneurs.
Uh-huh.
One is costs.
Okay.
Just purely going around meeting to meeting, the fuel charges, the Uber charges, the things like that, that has come down massively for
Oh
young
my.
entrepreneurs now going virtually.
Hmm.
Second thing is time.
Hmm.
The amount of time entrepreneurs would lose on traffic and coordination and sitting in a meeting place and waiting for the other person to arrive.
Hmm.
Now, if they're sitting on the Zoom and waiting for the person for 15-20 minutes, they can
Hmm.
continue to do whatever other work they're doing.
Correct,
So
correct.
time has been a very high value for entrepreneurs.
Hmm.
And the third thing, the most critical part, is the business development.
Hmm.
Because customer acquisition
Hmm.
has become so much more easier now, because anybody and everybody understands
Hmm.
if you're virtual and you're having a Zoom session to convert a client,
Okay.
or you're
Okay.
doing a social media promoting, because the client believes that okay, this person is being safe,
Correct.
he or she is not insisting to meet me in person, and
Correct.
that brings credibility, and the
Okay.
possibility of getting more clients have been much more higher. So these
Okay.
three are the thumbs ups for the, the new way of business.
Mhm.
But the three thumbs down for the new way of business has been, as you very correctly put, that earlier we would say traffic jam whenever we get late, right? Now we say network issues. Nothing
Ah,
has changed.
ah.
Our way of giving reasons is the same. It's just the mode has changed,
Changed.
right?
Right.
So I have had so many meetings, and I think even I did the same to Disha that day, right? I scheduled the meeting and I cancelled it. So I'm also guilty to that. That very easily we, sign out of a scheduled meeting. So that's the first negative thing.
Uh-huh.
Second negative thing is that, uh, you know, our ability to verbalize
Mhm.
what we do,
Uh-huh.
like express our offering
Uh-huh.
in a convincing manner, is
Mhm.
still difficult for us.
Okay.
I'll tell you a secret for both of you. For
Uh-huh.
the past 30 years, I've been trying to lose weight. I've never done that successfully. I do it and I leave it. It's like, the most mismanaged plan for me for the past 30 years. But now, in the last 1 year or in the last 6 months, I've lost a good chunk of weight, and I'm
Uh-huh.
really maintaining that. You know why? Because when I do these Zoom sessions and I look at myself,
Uh-huh.
I see, camera adds a few inches, right?
Correct,
And I
correct.
can see how I am. And that's made me more conscious about who I am. So
Oh.
the second thing is the way we present ourselves
Uh-huh.
has become difficult for us.
Correct.
Many shy away to have client meetings on Zoom or try to convert customers because they are uncomfortable with the camera that they see.
Mhm.
They are not. They also have a mindset that, oh, I'm not able to convince the client through a virtual existence.
Mhm.
For all of them, it wasn't like earlier when you go and meet them in person. You were
Mhm.
sitting in the next chair and hugging your client and talking to them, right? You were not doing that. Please realize that. Just because you're on virtual doesn't mean that, it's a big deal and you can't close deals. It's the same as earlier. And the third and the most important thing is managing the difference between home and personal life,
Correct, correct.
professional and personal life. Because, like the feather at the back of your head, we always find difficulty to keep our personal and professional things aside. I've had meetings where, some kid is crying around in the corner, or, some next door, what do you say, the construction work begins, and, the current goes off suddenly, So, and solution for that for all the entrepreneurs is when you start a meeting, start with a pleasant tone saying, hey, so good to see you here, but let's be prepared for all the sudden surprises of work from home. So you're already preparing your client with a thing. Be prepared, my kid is going to come over. Be prepared, somebody's going to drill their guts out on my wall, and you wouldn't be hearing me, or my current might go off. So you're just preparing the client for the worst.
Correct,
So
correct.
this is the three things.
And I like you correctly mentioned that the time has reduced, the Uber thing has reduced, and because of which the time management is there. But at the same time, we see a different perspective of it, that when you are working in work from home, so earlier the working hours were when you were in office. Those were the working hours, and hardly you used to get calls post that. But now somehow it feels that the people who are handling or who are like on a higher level, they think that since we are at home, we can be working day and night. They can call us anytime. So the point where you said that the personal life and professional life have to be balanced. So how to do that, and how to tell your manager as well ki, see, this is the scenario and I am at home, that does not mean ki I can be available all the time, because it's rude and it shows that you are not interested in the work as well at some level.
So I'll start it backwards. So if Kapil is my manager, I would say, hey, Mr. Kapil, I really love working for you. I've had an amazing journey with you. But now, as it's a work from home, this is my timelines as per what I've assigned you. And I'd request us to keep it in that time.
Okay.
Most of the time, your seniors, your managers, your reporting officers, your employers, your founders are expecting clarity from you. The
Correct.
reason they ping you in all odd times is because they assume that you're working at all times.
Okay.
Because of two reasons again. One, because your productivity has gone down so much that they think, okay, what he used to do in 8 hours, now maybe he's doing it in 16 hours.
Okay.
So I can reach him post 8 hours.
Oh.
Okay. So if you retain your productivity, if you retain your communication, your reporting officer will ensure that they will respect your timing.
Correct.
So everything, Kapil and Disha, this is a reality which I learned it the hard way. The people around you, and let it be even for founders, your co-founders, your investors, everyone, they are a reflection of who you see yourself as.
Okay.
If you see yourself as an organized person who's going to be super productive from 9 to 5 and finish the work and get out from the house, or maybe even go and do your workouts or be in your personal life, the moment you start doing that to your 100%, I assure you that the people around you will start respecting your limits, your performances, your outputs, and they will start respecting you for the person you are, and you will see them reflect what you are giving them.
Correct.
And that is the reality here. When I started my journey, trust me, again, I go back to my previous entity, Startups Club, because Disha, again, I keep saying this, right? I met with Disha in that times. I was the most chaotic person. I would try to do everything in every minute and every time. And that's what people around me saw me as.
Okay.
But today, with all the, one very big thing which happened was God brought pandemic, and I live alone. I don't live with my family. It's my choice. I want to be alone. So I was put into a place where I was in my house for almost 6 months and in a lockdown. And that's when first time I saw myself. And I stood in front of the mirror and like, why the are you so chaotic?
Correct.
But the moment I started putting things in place, I took counseling help. I took a professional support to get my head straight, to get my productivity in place. Today, I can see the people around me respect me for who I am and what I do with my time.
Correct.
And I can see them do the same too. So it all starts from you. And if you need your people to, if you need your people to give you that professional personal space, if you need your people to respect you for the work you do, you respect the work that you do.
Correct.
You give the professional and personal space. You give your 100% to everything what you do.
Correct.
And see the world around you change.
Correct. Like, this is something that I feel is everyone can learn at this point of time from you. And considering you have been here since 3 decades, more than 3 decades, like you have mentioned, and kind of a dinosaur in the business. So I want to ask, like, it's a predominantly male sector where most startup owners are male. Currently now they are starting up as females are also coming up and everything. But when 30 years back, when you started it, how was the thought process? Like, what was that one thing that is inspired you? कि यार, हाँ, सब लोग अलग कर रहे हैं, but मैं ये करूँगी. And seeing the scenarios around it, how difficult was it for the people to accept you, and moreover the family to accept you as what you were doing?
Okay, multiple questions here, and I need to answer all of them. So I'll start the easy ones first. Easy ones are, my family still doesn't accept me as a business person. But I'm sorry for the language, I care a fuck. Because that's my choice, right?
Correct.
So the world hasn't changed that much, Kapil. The world is still the same. It's just that people, society has become more smarter in hiding their true intentions.
Correct.
They have become now a false bubble where they project themselves as modernized, open-minded, very free-minded, but internally we are still those fickle-minded, women need to be in the house kind of people. And that's the reality of the world.
I totally agree on that. Like even if we are educated and everything, we see so many scenarios where two people who wants to marry from different religion or different caste are not allowed to, even though both the parents are educated. The other side.
And the best part is you will see the father of the bride or the groom stand and tell a lecture on somebody else that how intercaste marriage is always welcomed. But he'll go home and he'll kick the ass of his son to not get married in another caste. That's the world we live in. Let's deal with that. And for us as entrepreneurs, right, that's the fact that we have to deal with. And if we are women, that's even more important fact. So there are three things which I want to tell this as a message to the world out here. One is 35 years back, the world was much more open for a lady to become a woman entrepreneur.
This is strange.
My father encouraged me to go out there and lead his company. My mother, even if she did not know English, he sent her for spoken English classes and she managed finances for my company.
Oh, nice.
And it's just not about my father. I have seen my uncles, my neighbors, and there was a lot of, in Bangalore at least, there was this Anglo-Indian culture where there were, expats and other people, and we had this open mind about women and men being same. We've had some great prom nights. We've had some amazing life at the age at that time. Whereas now we are judged for everything what we do, even to the point where we wear. Like frankly, today in this meeting, I had this pajama with a sleeveless top which I was wearing. Every ounce of me told me to sit in this interview with that. Because for me, it was about who I am. I don't care who's seeing this. But then I said, no, these two kids who are building a platform, who are working towards it, it's not for me, but it's for them. And if they're going to showcase my interview, they should not feel any uncomfortable feeling to do that. So trust me, I compromise myself for you. And which is not a favor on you, but it's my intention. But today the world is such that everyone expects a woman entrepreneur to be in a different form. If you notice, every woman entrepreneur who's made something out of her has had her struggles with her family, has her struggles with her co-founders, has had her struggles with putting her decisions with her team or investors or anybody. And only those survive who have the, in simple words again, the guts to stand up and say, screw you, this is how it's going to be. So yeah, it's still tougher now. And the way things are going, like I get so many calls. 2 days back, Kapil, I got a call from a dynamic women entrepreneur who quit her startup because her family felt that with the working from home, she had to pay more attention to the family. So this is not one-off case. The world is such. So then my message to all the women entrepreneurs, are you going to shy away? Are you going to feel, oh my God, we are in this world? No. If I was a man, I'm sure I could give you 10 other challenges which I had as a man. So everyone has challenges. So we do have to. So let's handle our challenges. Let's face it. Let's go get our shit done.
I think this will be very inspiring for people to see, not just for women entrepreneurs, but as well as people like me and Disha who are just trying to do something on their own. Luckily, like for me, my parents are okay for what I am doing and what I want to pursue. But I see most of my friends who has brilliant ideas, and I see them not pursuing them because their family is not supporting them. So this is something I don't understand. Even if we are an educated society, how could we not see the future of our kids and the choices they want to make?
Because society and parents don't live in the future. I'm a parent too. And it was a very difficult thing for me to break free from that feeling. Every parent lives in the past. Correct. I lived my life like this. I faced these challenges. I had difficulties with finances. I don't want my child to go through that.
Correct.
So that's the reason I want my child in a secure job. I want my child to do what is needed to get married, have babies, have a secured, it's okay if it's a loan taken for a house, but I need him to get a house or her to get a house. So all this comes not from what is in the future. All this comes from what is in the past for a parent.
Correct.
And it's a very, very difficult task for parents to break free with that.
Correct.
For them to break their life away. I believe that for parents, the umbilical cord is still stuck with the child till the child becomes 80 years and the parent is alive.
Correct.
That's the fact. Okay. And the most difficult task for a parent is to cut that umbilical cord and let the child free and say, okay, I had my challenges, I've done my mistakes, I have reached here. Go do your challenges, go do your mistakes, recover from it. I will just be a boat in the storm for you.
If you want
face
to
the storm.
Yeah.
No, face the storm. And if you feel that you're done facing the storm, I will be that boat which you can jump into. But I will not take you around everywhere. That is a very difficult thing to ask of a parent.
Correct.
Now, if you ask me, how did I reach here? Life kicked my ass and made me do this. Because in my previous entity, I had my son working with me. And I know what happened with me and my son as a relationship. It got damaged so badly. And that was purely because of me. Because I would not let him do his set of mistakes. I would always try to correct him saying, I went through this and so you have to do this.
Correct.
But when shit hit the roof and I said, no, I have to take a stand. That's when I had to cut that umbilical cord, let him free to move on with his initiative, his choices, and me going on my way. And today we have a very healthy relationship, touch wood.
Correct.
So that's how I realized this. So for parents out here, don't wait till shit hits the roof.
Correct.
Realize this, that your child is another individual. Cut the umbilical cord, make a strong boat for them, and be the boat for them to jump into when they are ready.
Correct.
And that's all it takes.
Correct. I hope most of the people who are watching this can learn a lot from you, not just being an entrepreneur, but as a parent as well. I think Disha has some questions. Disha?
What are the major startups that you have worked with and what are they doing now? How have they scaled? Is there any takeaway for other startups looking at these startups?
Okay. So there have been a few interesting startups we worked with in different forms. I'm not saying that we helped them grow. We associated with them in different ways, right? My one famous poster boy and super excited startup, which I keep following very closely and who's a very good friend of mine as well, is the Razorpay founding team. I am amazed with the growth that they are having. A long time back, almost a year back, I've stopped giving example of Mark Zuckerberg and such kinds. I now give about examples of Shashank, who's the founder of Razorpay, because they're doing some amazing work. I can see some really great growth happening. And I have worked very closely with them in regards to various events and things like that. But more than that, I've been a friend. And I've seen that young entrepreneur grow into a dynamic unicorn leader. So that's one person I really cherish to my heart as a connect, as a friend, as an associate. There are many startups. So you know what? I'll ask a question back to you, Disha. Right? Do you know your Montessori teacher? Name, face, where she lives, what she does?
Okay, Chitra ma'am. She used to be my favorite. I used to go to school only to see her.
But when is the last time you met with her?
She doesn't remember me, but whenever I was in school and whenever I was done with high school, come up, see her face and then go up.
Okay, so how many years it's been since you met with her? Approximately. 5 years? Wow, 20 years. 20 years. So that's my thing, right? I am a mentor to early stage startups. I'm a mentor to early stage startups. I am a Montessori for startups. So there are so many startups who have passed through me as a mentor, my entities. Today, as we stand in Startup Squares, we are nurturing, mentoring, and supporting in execution 120 founders. And I know many of them will go to become the unicorns and the $1 billion or even sustain themselves with great growth. But ask them down the line, they wouldn't know me, or they might not meet with me for a long time, or I wouldn't be able to stand up and say, hey, I did that for him, right? I can't say that. Because when entrepreneurs are just learning to stand, when they're still deciding on, structuring their idea, when they're on the drawing board to go out and try their target group or their market segment or do a quick fail fast approach for MVP, that's when I am their mentor. So I've worked with so many entrepreneurs, from hospitality to food tech to space tech to clean tech, you name it. But then I would not be able to take specific names which you might know and say, okay, that's Salma ma'am's mentoring done, and I wouldn't want to do that.
Correct. It's like
But there may be many high school students who would want to see their nursery teacher's face every now and then.
That's the dream. I hope so. When I'm really old and all wrinkled and I'm like, really in that age space, I don't know when that is going to be. I hope all of these founders who are out there, who've been touched by me in some form, come to me. I think that's the aim teachers or mentors look for, right? So hope so one day.
And maybe that time you can wear the kurta pajama you were wearing in this meeting and don't care about the presentation.
No.
What is going to happen?
No. You go and check out a few on the YouTube with me. I already wear that. I'm not going to wait for anything from that. Any other questions?
What are the key takeaways for young entrepreneurs? What should they actually keep it in their mind every single morning, or which is the book that they should really go to whenever they're like done with everything? They're exhausted and they just want to quit.
Okay. So first takeaway, every time when you get up in the morning, is you are the biggest asset for your startup. So be healthy. A startup needs a healthy founder. So don't be lazy. Don't think you're slim and you do not need to go take a jog or, do some workouts or eat healthy and things like that. So take care of yourself. You need to be healthy, because when you're physically healthy, you're mentally strong. So be healthy. And second thing is, have your day's plan put together. Always take control of your calendar. Don't let the calendar take control of your day.
Correct.
Anyone called, you're going about that, so and so called, my tech person called, don't go that way. Plan your day in advance and you rule the calendar. You take your calendar forward accordingly. The third thing is, ensure that you take breaks, because it's a work from home or, social distancing and all this. Make sure that every 2 hours, just like how in the health basis, you say that every 2 hours, grab something to eat. The same way, every 2 hours, cut yourself away for a 10-15 minutes, listen to some music, listen to some affirmations, listen to something which calms you down and tells you, okay, it's okay, you've done good. Go ahead and do another good 2 hours. So take those 2 hours, 10 minutes, every 2 hours, 10 minutes break. And always try to end your day fast, finish your night activities, have your dinner fast, and have your 8 hours sleep. I know some of the people who know me from the past 5-6 years, they might be like flipping over right now. Like, what happened to this lady? Where is Salma? Had she killed Salma and, somebody else is sitting here? Because I'm somebody who used to do full nighters. I'm somebody who would never sleep. I would literally work for 22 hours. But here I am. 8 hours sleep is a must. Because when you sleep and wake up is where you're ready for the next 12 hours.
Correct.
So please go about and sleep for 8 hours.
I think this is some very valuable points, because when people are at home, they generally don't plan their routines well. They are awake till late night and then they wake up late. So the whole day just keeps on inspiring.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry, Kapil, I'm going to cut you in. I forgot to tell just 2 or 3 things on the business side. I just told the founder side. Business side, just ensure that you have your targets, measure everything. This is for all the founders. Please understand. Like today, if I tell, Kapil that, Kapil, I love you the most. Kapil would not understand how much I love him. But if I tell Kapil, between the two of you, Disha and Kapil, I love you the most. Then Kapil will know that I love him more than I love Disha. So the metrics of measurement happens when there's a number.
Correct.
So anything in your business, put a parameter of number. You want to do technology development, 5 features need to go out there in the next 10 days. So the 10 days and the 5 features is your parameter. Correct. If you're going to go about in doing sales, I need to bring money into the company of maybe ₹1,00,000 in the next 10 days. Just examples, but the numbers are your measurements. So please make sure that you have your parameters of measurement for every department. Correct. Because if you do not have number, then you do not know to measure. And if you do not know to measure, you will not be understanding yourself of how much you've actually done.
Correct.
So please put parameters of measurements. The second thing is, even if you're working at an idea stage, please understand this. Compliances, accounting, and your, the complete taxations and things need to be kept in mind. I can tell you so many founders who are just starting out, who have not even incorporated their company, but have given off 5-10 lakhs for their technology development, made the payments from their personal accounts, which most of the founders do. But that is absolutely wrong. Please make sure from the day you decide, even to the point of going about and signing me as a mentor, there's an annual program. I insist that if they are planning to start something, they do it either from their official account or they do it from their account, but account it as an investment from the founder for the company that they are starting. So your books of accounts should be kept clean. From the day one, you should know what is needed for a company when it has to be completely compliant. Please educate yourself. That's another thing what we do very extensively with our founders. We educate them on the compliances. We have professional experts who explain to them how important it is to be compliant. And if you are compliant, there are so many subsidies and grants and various things which you can get even from the government at an idea stage. Correct. So there is a positive approach if you keep it clean. So do that. And the third thing is, when you choose employees, team members to work with you, I know we come from this scene where it's a startup scene, it's a very flat culture. Anyone can talk to the founder, very friendly approach. That's a startup scene, what they say. Correct. But I have now, even I used to do that a lot. But now I can tell you this to all the founders out there. It's not without a reason that MNCs have such clear structures, processes, reporting systems, and strict policies for employees. Correct. Please do that. Even if you're a one-person founder and you're hiring 2 people, get strict employment contract. Put rules and conditions. Do not engage with your employees post office hours. Do not ensure that they start calling you with their first name, because when things are good, it's good. But when things go bad, they start seeing you as one of them. And the respect and the seriousness to your role, need of them focusing on your work will not come. Correct. So it's important. I know I might sound like a dictator, but I've been the best buddy and a friend to my employees, and I know what happens to the system. So please set rules. Your employees are not your friends. Correct. They are your team members who are going to come work for you and get benefits out of it and move on with life. They are not here to build your dream. Correct. So give them the respect of being there with you, but do not give them the freedom to take you for granted. Correct.
I think this is one of the things. Yeah, I think startups need to actually see this, because I have seen that happening in many of the startups, and then Even if the person who started the startups say something, people just laugh or just make fun of that thing.
You do not need your people sitting on bean bags and watching YouTube, because that's what is going to happen in the end of the day, and they'll be doing it right in front of you.
Correct. कि यार हमारा तो CEO chill है, सब ऐसे ही चलता है.
Chill है, हो जाएगा.
हाँ.
Yeah. So it's all in us. As I told you, right? We do that. So time to set rules, ground rules. Time to understand who's who. Co-founders in their place. Customers, the most priority. The highest priority are your end users and customers. Your team in their place. Investors in their place. And you in yours. Understand that from day one. And that is what is going to help you grow your business successfully in a healthy manner for a long term.
Correct.
Everything else might work temporarily, but within a very short period of time, it will collapse like house of cards. Don't let that happen.
Correct. Yeah, Disha, you were saying?
Nothing. Thank you so much for coming over.
Perfect. So as a last message to this interview, I do not know if you guys would make it as one interview or two, but I've loved speaking to you guys. You both are absolutely amazing. I hope your YouTube channel really kicks off and takes off really well. I would be one of it to promote it, and please share the link with me. But just one takeaway for you guys. If you love what you're doing, don't stop, come with me.
Correct.
Yeah?
This is something I think I have been in my head that whatever you do it regularly and do it with all the heart every time. So I think that is something that you have also shared. Correct.
Discipline.
Correct.
Yeah. So thank you so very much, guys.
Thank you so much, ma'am. And I hope we stay connected, and maybe in future or near future, when I need any help or Disha needs any help or any guidance, I hope that you have free time to guide us and help us with that.
So Disha is already in that book list, where if she tells me anything, I will say a yes without thinking. But I think you also need to get connected with me. Please take my number and connect with me on Facebook, LinkedIn, and on WhatsApp. I live more on my WhatsApp than my house, so you can always reach me.
Okay, cool. Yeah? This is so nice of you, ma'am. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. For all the young entrepreneurs and startups who are starting off on their own, there's this book called as Ease of Doing Business. It's a compilation of corporate compliances and exemptions for startups. The link for the book will be put up in the description box below. Do check it out. And for more such videos on startups and entrepreneurs, do like, share and subscribe. Bye.